The Crossroads of Africa, the Cradle of Islam. The Khanim Empire, 1085. In context. Location, Chad. Before, 4th century BCE. The So people begin to settle around Lake Chad. By 700 CE, the So civilization is at its height. Circa 800 CE, Maidugu founds the Dugawa dynasty and becomes the first king of Khanim on the eastern shores of Lake Chad. After 14th century, the Bulala people invade Khanim, forcing the Seyfuwa to move to Bornu. The So people who lived there are eventually assimilated. 1571, Idris Aluma becomes king of Khanim Bornu, and the empire peaks during its reign. 19th century, the Khanim Bornu empire is in decline and the Seyfuwa, Africa's longest dynasty, collapses. 1902, Bornu is partitioned by Britain, France, and Germany. The Khanim Empire ruled over northeastern Nigeria, northern Cameroon, eastern Niger, western Chad, and southern Libya. After adopting Islam as its official religion in the 11th century, the empire came to dominate trade routes across the Sahara and was influential in the spread of Islam across Africa. Two dynasties, the Sugawa and the Seyfuwa, held sway for most of Khanim's history. The Dugawa ruled from around 800 CE. Their kingdom was modest. The people built huts from corn stalks and lived a nomadic existence. By the 10th century, the kingdom had become wealthier and more permanent settlements had been established, including the cities of Manan and Tarazaki. The buildings in these new cities were made of plastered clay. The spread of Islam. Most of the Dugawa rulers were divine kings, or Mai, who followed a traditional African religion. This began to change when Mai Urku led conquest of the Sahara region in the mid-11th century, seizing control of territory occupied by Arab refugees fleeing political pressures at home. The refugees' realism Islam soon made an impression on the royal court. Queen Hawa, who succeeded Urku in 1067, became Khanim's first Muslim sovereign. When the Seyfuwa dynasty came to power in 1075, its rulers also followed Islam. They made pilgrimages to Mecca, and some studied hundreds of books on Islam. By 1085, the religion was spreading rapidly across Khanim, adopted by rich and poor alike. By the mid-13th century, Mai-Dunama II had built Khanim into a great regional power with Njimi as its capital. Commanding 30,000 camel-mounted cavalry and a huge infantry, he led a campaign in the desert that resulted in Khanim seizing control of the Fezzan region of southern Libya, which included sought-after Saharan oases, and extending the empire's boundaries to the east and north. Military commanders were put in charge of conquered areas, and defeated peoples were forced to pay tribute to the Khanim rulers, usually in the form of enslaved people. Trading goods and ideas. Mastery of the Trans-Sahara trade routes, along with the spoils of war, built large state revenues. Horses, metalware, and salt came from Egypt, ivory came from the west, and cotton goods came from the south. The empire was also heavily involved in the lucrative slave trade. Ideas spread along the trade routes too, and cultural contracts were established from the outside world. Travelers from Khanim established a school in Cairo, Egypt, which was used by pilgrims traveling to and from Mecca. Khanim poet Abu Ishaq Ibrahim al-Kanemi worked at the royal court in Moorish Spain. Despite their successes both on and off the battlefield, internal and external conflict eventually forced the Seyfuwa rulers to abandon Njimi and form the new kingdom of Bornu on the western edge of Lake Chad. There, the Seyfuwa held on to power until the 19th century, the continent's longest dynasty. The move to Bornu. In the 14th century, the Seyfuwa dynasty, weakened by internal battles, came into conflict with the Bulala people who occupied land to the east of the Khanim Empire in modern-day Chad. Jil ibn Sukuma, the Bulala king, forced the Seyfuwa rulers to move west to Bornu, leaving Bulala in charge of Khanim. Rather than risk further defeats at the hands of the Bulala, Ali ibn Dunama, a later Seyfuwa ruler, consolidated power in Bornu. In 1484, he established a new capital in Azagamu, near the Yobe River, which became home to 250,000 people. Their religious needs were served by 4 vast mosques, each containing 12,000 worshippers at a time, and the city was protected by a towering rampart with 5 entrances. Trade caravans continued to meet the empire's needs, and the Bornu people exchanged rather the leather goods and pottery they produced for European manufactured goods and perfumes. Like Canaan before it, Bornu thrived as a center of Islamic worship.